Hi, I'm Christina and welcome to my channel. I love sustainable home decor and style through shopping secondhand. And today I have a little thrift flip to share with you. So this is me filming going back in time because this process actually took me 2.5 weeks and I realized I forgot to film an intro. I bought this silk shirt over a year ago and it was a bit too big, not quite my style, but made out of a gorgeous material. All right, so let's see how all this turned out. So I have this Jones New York sleeveless colored shirt. I got it for $5.99 and I thought that was a really great deal. It is way too large for me, but I got caught up in the fact that it's a really nice, thick, matte silk and I love the feel of silk. So I couldn't really help myself, but it's like a large, so it's definitely too big for me. But I thought it'd be great to work with this material because I couldn't pass it up. So yeah, I thought I'd tackle this today. So basically, here are my thoughts on it. I love the material of it, and I like the shape of the shoulders, but I definitely would want to take it in on the sides, just because it's a little bit too wide for me. And then also with the collar, I think it's a little bit too long and pointy for me, and I feel like that dates it a little bit. So thinking of just taking out the stitching here and just taking off the collar, and then just sewing this back up to close it up. This is what I'm envisioning, because I think that will look better. And yeah, just take it in. So maybe I'll take it in at the bottom as well because I do like a little bit of a shorter hem, but I also love tying my tops up anyway, so it gives me fabric to do that if I want to do that instead, and saves me a little bit of sewing. But yeah, like if you can see the vision, I don't know, can you? But yeah, let's go in and try that out. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start off with trying to remove the collar, and I think that'll be the easiest part. That doesn't actually involve me cutting into fabric, which always makes me a little anxious because I feel like I like things that you can undo, and cutting is quite final. Like I know they say like measure twice, cut once. I like measure like 5 million times just so I make sure I'm not like screwing it up. But yeah, so just the tools I have on hand are a needle and thread, a box of pins, and a seam ripper, and a really cute pair of like embroidery scissors. I'm just gonna get started seam ripping this and see what we have to work with here. You wanna be careful if you're doing anything like this to not poke the fabric. It's actually coming off quite easily, and I think this actually will be pretty easy to take off and have a nice clean line once it's removed. Yeah, I thought like it's always better to just tackle these projects because it's better than it just sitting around being unworn in my closet. I have another dress that's also made out of silk, if you can see the pattern. It's black and it's also way too big for me, but I have big plans for that. So if this video goes well, I think I will tackling that one next because it's kind of nice filming this video because it's pushed me to tackle the projects I've been putting off by having a little bit of accountability. And actually, I'm definitely gonna be keeping the rest of this fabric. I've been wanting to make silk scrunchies because they're so expensive to buy. But if you can get like secondhand silk, then you can make your own. But I didn't want to like use this entire, like if I use this entire shirt to make scrunchies, that'd be a lot of scrunchies and I don't have the need for that many scrunchies. Don't know why I haven't done this ages ago. Whenever I partake in things that are more creative, it makes me really happy, but I also like don't often make time to do it. It'll be like the first thing to go out of my schedule as soon as things get busy. So I'm trying to make a commitment, post a video a week. We'll see how that goes. And do something that fulfills that side of me. But you can see it's like it's coming apart. So I've got the full front side, now the back side. I'm almost there. Last bit hanging on. Okay, so there, this collar is off. This is the perfect amount of material to make a scrunchie, so I'll be definitely keeping that for a later project. And also, I'll just say like this isn't really meant to be like a tutorial as such, but just like this is what I'm doing, and maybe inspire you to tackle any projects that you might have, or maybe you don't buy pieces that need fixing. I'm like actually trying to tell myself to be really realistic on what I am willing to tackle and have the time for. Like, so part of it actually is connected, but it's also coming loose, which way it was sewed together. So I think I'm just gonna stabilize the ends. So this is what it looks like. What do we think? What do we think? I'm going to just go into where I have a mirror and kind of see how wide I want it. Okay, and I'm back. So I just put it on inside out just because I had the pins on the outside and I wanted to see what it would look like represented without the flaps of fabric. And I think this looks like a pretty good width. I think it skims the body a bit better. And yeah, so I'll probably just like close up the armholes a little bit higher, but I don't want to stab myself with a pin. I've done that many times, not really the most fun. I think it fits a lot better, so I think I have an idea of how much fabric I want to remove. And now for this, I think I'm going to be trying to do a French seam. Okay, so I just have this lying on the floor flat here. And I've just started off by taking a couple pins in a general straight line to get an idea of how much fabric I want to take off. I tried doing this when I was wearing it, and then I realized that was really difficult without any help and getting it like even on both front and back. Put it on, and I think I'm happy with where it is now. And now it's a bit like of an estimate, and I think I would just want to keep it straight on the sides. And when I put it on, I also just marked how high I want the armhole to go so that it's not like too low. And I just copied an approximation of the measurements on the other side. So I've been staring at this for the last few minutes, trying to figure out how to French seam works. And as far as I understand it, basically, I'll do a hem along here, and then you fold that bit in, and then you do a hem closer to where you actually want it. And that fold will create your French seam. So I just grabbed a small ruler just to make sure I get this seam straight all the way down, or at least close enough to it. So I'm just gonna try and make sure it's about 4 inches all the way down. I think I might do a basting stitch just to keep my line straight, because this fabric's so like movable that it's kind of hard to tell. I know they recommend cutting silk with a rotary cutter, but I don't have one. I do have fabric scissors, so I'll be using that instead. So I've added more pins on both sides to try to stabilize it a little bit. I've tried to keep my basting stitch fairly straight. I'm gonna have to go a bit straighter when I actually sew it. And like I said, I'm gonna start sewing here so I can do the little like weird flappy thing, whatever that's called, starting there. And yeah, let's get stitching. Okay, so I put a really loose base stitch across. I just made it a little taut when I was sewing so I could kind of line it up. And you'll see it's a lot straighter anyways than my previous like attempts at basting it. So I'll probably skip that step next time and just do it this way, because I did the stitch while keeping the fabric on the floor just so I could kind of keep it straight. So I have it laid back up flat, and I'm just gonna trim about just under 1/2 inch on this side because I want it to finish 1/2 inch here, so I have to be able to tuck it in. And I don't think I want to go too far and have to retrim, because it'll be harder to like adjust when there's not that much fabric on this side to pull it taut. Okay, and this is the part that kind of makes me anxious because there's no going back once you cut it. But it wasn't gonna fit me anyway, so we're gonna plow forward. And okay, we've cut. So I've left extra fabric to wrap it around there. I've tried to keep this fairly thin all the way up, and I didn't know what I was gonna do there, so I left extra fabric. And look at all this scrunchy material. Yeah, so I'll be keeping that scrap as well. So I have it here. I'm just gonna put it on to kind of show you what I am doing. This side is just pinned, I haven't done anything to it. Basically, we'll see what happens on this side, learn from our mistakes, and then do it all on the other side. So you can see there's a raw hem here, and you can see the silk's already fraying. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna like tuck this side inside the fabric, so it'll be nice and protected. And I think on the top what I'm gonna do is just like roll this in and then hem it. And I'm gonna do the same on the bottom. Hopefully it'll be smooth and seamless. All right, let's get to sewing. Okay, so I just ate dinner because it occurred to me that it was like 7:30 and I hadn't eaten yet. So I ate some food. And now let's get back to this. So because we folded it, we're gonna be losing a little bit of fabric. So even though I said, I wanted like it 1/2 inch from where the first seam line was made, I'm gonna have it probably be a little bit smaller. And I don't know if you can see through this, but I'm just gonna make sure that that hem is gonna be enclosed so none of the fraying comes through on the good side. And yeah, so I'm just gonna get started sewing this and probably do that same like basting stitch and then go all the way across. I'm not gonna put you through that, so I'll fast forward you till that's done. Okay, so we're still at it. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. So I'm kind of just like holding both the seam taut as well as the thread that's my guide. And I realized like a running stitch is hard for me to keep straight, because even though as I'm like weaving in and out of the fabric, it's hard to tell if it's shifting. So I'm just doing like a 1 in, 1 out, like a normal sew. Okay, so it's like fully dark outside. It is 9 p.m. Yeah, this is taking a while, but I have finished my hem. And also, all of this just for 1/2 of a shirt. I think it's straighter than any other like hand stitched seam I've ever done. So I'm done there. I'm gonna flip it inside out. Okay, I'm just gonna hand hem these bits in and then do the same thing at the bottom. I think it was cut off when I filmed it earlier, but I'm just gonna hem these so it does that little like V-split thing. Okay. I've just examined this, and I think for the other side, because when I tuck this in, I lose that like nice edge on the outside. So for the other side, I think I'm gonna, when I cut it off, I'm gonna continue to let this thicker hem bit like extend so I can have that neat edge all the way, but it'll be like under my arm, so it won't be too noticeable, I hope, anyway. But okay, so it's been 2 days since I last filmed, because honestly this project was stressing me out a little, so I needed a break to pause and reflect on what was happening and just like get it out of my system. I actually did finish the silk scrunchie, which I made from the collar of the shirt, so that's been exciting, like a good little boost of morale to just be like, I did a project, I finished it. Yeah, so I have it on inside out, and you'll see this side is the side that I finished, and armhole is the issue that I'm having with it right now. And this is the side that I haven't actually trimmed the fabric off of. So you'll see that the seam, the inside of the French seam hasn't been pressed yet. And it's just like the arm actually looks good when it's inside out because it's all like tucked in, but I'm noticing the issue with the French seam is that I'm not gonna be doing this seam all the way up to the top, just because I don't think it would. Maybe I could, honestly, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to figure out a different method for it, because then it's gonna like fold over on the outside and then it's folded over on the inside, but I need to like taper in. Anyways, be 1 second. I'm gonna swap this around to be right side out so you kind of know what I'm saying and what issues I had on this side. So I have it around right side out, so you'll see, yeah, I need to trim this and then hem it. But this is the side that I've already done, and I'm just noticing that like this flap kind of sticks out a little bit and it doesn't look fully right. What I am gonna do is that there's like this some sort of like double edge that they have going around the arm, and I'm gonna try to maintain it for this side, and then trim it off at the very end once I realize how much I need. But I think even for this side, just the way it lies is just a little bit awkward on both front and back. But I think I'll probably take in a little bit more to where it naturally wants to go, and maybe do like some sort of invisible type of stitch to try to like hide that, like the messiness here. Anyways, I think for now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the French seam on this side, but leave a lot of extra fabric. Like I'll just cut it from here, whereas last time I cut it like down, I don't know if you can see, down and then in. But I'm gonna try to leave this like fabric line where it is, so that way I can work with it and try to maintain most of the integrity of the shirt. But I'm liking how it looks so far. It feels very luxurious and soft, and I think tied would be a really cute look. But yeah, I'm gonna figure out this side, at least do the seam in so that part's done, and then I'm gonna figure out the sleeve situation. Okay, so, and we are back for the DIY project. It's actually been like 2 weeks since I did the last step of the DIY, so I thought I'd come back and finish it off, because I think I'm a little late getting this video out, but you know, just trying to get into a swing of things. So yeah, so where we are, the collar has been taken off, the sides have been taken in, perhaps too much, but whatever. I think it'll work. And so now we're just gonna try and sew the sleeves straight, so the bottom of the sleeves, so that they work properly. And I'm gonna try to fix the other side because I think that it just wasn't lying quite right. And yeah, so I'm gonna get to that now. We'll see how this actually all turns out. I think so far it's gone okay, but the sleeves are really throwing me off. So this is something I've definitely been meaning to tackle for a long time coming. And I think it's time I finally give it a final finish. And I think I should mention that I'm going to try to do an invisible, I think it's called an invisible stitch, where basically when you're sewing, on the side that's going to show in the end, you only want to pick up like the tiniest bit of fabric, so that way you won't really see the stitching on that side, because the rest of it doesn't really have the visible stitching if I'm going to try to like have it layer over smoothly. I don't know if that makes sense, but that is what I'm going to try to attempt here. Okay, so after ages of trying to hand sew it and figure out the best ways to do it, we are done. So let's go try it on and see how it looks. All right, and do you remember how the top looked before? It was definitely too big. And this is how it turned out as I awkwardly try to model this. I think I could still improve the sleeves a little bit, but I think overall it turned out pretty cute. Now here we have the finished product. I feel like we took this piece that was too big for me. I feel like the collar was a little bit outdated, but made of really nice material and made it into something that I'd actually like love to wear. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well despite all the challenges and struggles. I think I managed to pull together the sleeve so it kind of looks okay. Okay, so but this is like it tucked in and how I would probably wear it, but I'll show you the issue that I have with it now. So if I untuck this, you'll see, okay, one, it's very long. And because I decided to so it's straight down, I forgot that like I have like hips. So it's definitely a lot snugger here. Like if I actually try to button this up, you'll see it's like, it really pulls tight around my hips, which is like not the greatest look. And if I wanted to maintain the length and wear it that way, maybe next time I should keep in mind to like go out a little bit and maybe follow the original curve. But the thing is, like when it is tucked, or even if I just like tuck it under itself, I think, okay, that's not like the greatest look, but like I think when it's at this length, I think the width works. It's just like if I like wanted it longer, it's a little bit awkward just the way it hits. But I think like I'm only really gonna wear this tucked in. I did try tying it, but I feel like the fabric didn't really lay quite right when I did that. I think like in the future, if I ever feel like coming back to this and perfecting it, maybe I would just actually like crop it to maybe just past the third button, so it would just fall at this height, and that way you could wear it like untucked or tucked in, like just have enough length that it's easy to tuck in. If it wasn't tucked in, it wouldn't like lie as weird. But I think I've like had my fill of hand sewing for the minute, and I am happy with how it turned out, and we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah, but this, if I tie it, I don't know, like it kind of falls a little bit weird, but I don't know, maybe I'll play around with it because that could be another option. All right, and now we're all tucked in again, kind of how I would wear it. And I'm also wearing the scrunchie that I made out of the leftover material from the collar. I actually made two. That might be a separate follow-up video, just a quick little DIY that's a lot easier than whatever I did with this whole top. But, all right, and that's a wrap. I hope you liked watching me struggle through this DIY, but I hope it also inspires you to attempt any projects you've been putting off, or maybe getting something to thrift flip for yourself. Yeah, so if you like the video, give it a like, comment below if there's anything you're looking to work on, and subscribe for more thrift flips, thrifting, and home decor content. I have a lot of exciting videos planned soon, so hope to see you next time. Bye!